Hello and welcome once again to a very special Capes and Lunatics. At the end of last week's episode, we got the tragic news that everyone did, that Adam West has hopped into the Batmobile one last time, turbines to speed, headed off to this little foil. And we wanted to spend this week's episode just talking about the work of Adam West, the Batman series, of course, which is so influential on all of us, and how much Adam West as a character touched our lives in a way that maybe we did not even imagine it would. I am here, as always, Charlie, the Professor Esther, and with me, as always, is the beautiful, the lovely...
Lilith, the lunatic of the crew.
I was actually talking about Phil, but that's okay. No, you're beautiful and lovely as well, Lilith, of course. I just had to put in a little spin on it. And Phil, who are you?
Phil me and Parrish. Don't get fresh with me, Charlie. I'm married.
That's okay. So, I was talking to Phil about this, and maybe it's just the algorithm on my Facebook feed that it's like set for Uber Nerd. But does it strike you that Adam West's passing has kind of got it's as big, if not bigger, than when Prince passed? I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just because it affects me more. And granted, I was not a Prince fan or a Bowie fan. So when any of these musicians die, I'm like, oh, that's very sad. Then I move on with my life. But it seems like with Adam West, it seems like everyone's like, this really was something that was important to us in a way that we didn't even realize it was, whether it's because people loved him as Mayor West on Family Guy, or they loved him as Batman, which is still in constant rotation. There's not a kid alive today who doesn't watch 66 Batman still, or his recent comeback in Capes and Capes Crusaders Return, not Capes and Lunatics. He never did this show, unfortunately. Unfortunately, we were only at our third episode when he passed away, so we never even had the chance. Or, any of his other, humorous performances, such as playing Catman on Fairly Odd Parents. Let's talk about what we most remember about Adam West for a minute. Lilith?
Let's see. I actually got to meet him, but I was really, really small when I met him. But he was a really huge guy. He was 6'2". I'm really into tall guys, so that was an impression that I remember. Great guy, really nice. I also met him probably 10 years ago at some random con, and he's just always so gracious, and he was always so gracious and kind to his fans. And anybody that's ever met him or ever known him, they just have these great, hilarious stories. Friend of Channel 52, Travis Langley, who does a ton of those psychology of books, he had a great story. Just a great guy. It seemed he was kind of like the William Shatner, you know what I mean? Everybody just has a great story, and he was just always a big proponent of genre. And he just when he played Adam West, Mayor West on Family Guy, I was like, oh my God, he's back. And I also love Fairly Odd Parents, so Catman, that always got a chuckle. And just so sad to see him go, really.
I think Charlie had some technical issues, so he'll be back. Or
maybe he's just doing the cat stare.
Let me ponder this. No, he let me know. I never had the pleasure of meeting Mr. West, but he was my first Batman. Repeats of the 66 Batman were my first Batman. Well, that and Super Friends, but I watched it young enough where at first I didn't realize how campy it was until especially when I saw that 89 Batman, I was like, oh, that's a joke. Okay.
I didn't have a good appreciation for Batman 66 when I was younger. It took me until I was 25 to really truly appreciate the show. And once you learn all the inside things, they were playing it very straight laced, you know what I mean? All these little things that come out later and you can appreciate. I really grew to appreciate Batman 66. especially in light of, Dark Knight trilogy and, Batfleck and all those things. Like, we could still use Adam West as Batman right about now.
Yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, like I said, I enjoyed the show when I was little, and then I kind of grew to be like, oh, that's not Batman. But then I came back around in the last couple of years because it's just like, yeah, I mean, they knew exactly what they were. They weren't trying to be dark Batman, and I don't know. I guess there's room for many interpretations.
But also, why I really hated Batman 66 when I was younger is because it affected the Batman book so much that it took a really long time towards like the tail end of like Brave and the Bold to really get Batman back on track to the kind of mainstream success that, fans wanted to see in a Batman character in a book,
Yeah, and it's just like, if you run across anyone and you tell them you like Batman or anything, it just seemed like 99% of the people you'd run into, it would just be like, oh, Batman, no, that's all they knew.
Yeah. And like I said, the world needs that.
So much more to Batman. Yeah.
It's kind of like Watchmen. It was just too ahead of its time to be appreciated then, and now it's like, oh, we're having this renaissance, and now he's not here to add extra. They finally, like, 2-3 years ago, finally released Batman 66 for home DVD or Blu-ray.
Yeah, something like that, because I think they said the rights were all like tied up. Like someone had the music right, someone had this, that. Yeah.
Oh, that show is an absolute mess. But what do you expect from ABC, which it originally aired on? Right? Right. I'm not. You're not old enough to remember that either. So I don't know. Charlie might.
What?
Be.
Yeah. No, I wasn't. No, I saw repeats. I didn't see the first.
It's like, hold on now. I'm old, but I'm not that old. But he also did some really great work in other things too, And he, young Adam West could have got it. Okay. And I think it's great that that's what he's remembered for, but he had a lot of other cool things too.
Yeah. But like me and Charlie were talking about before, I mean, Adam West was definitely fell into that Shatner category where, he had that one iconic role, and that's how most people remembered him from then on.
He did so many freaking movies, like great film noir movies too. And as a movie buff, you're just like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean, even like in the obituaries and stuff, it's just like, what's the big thing that everyone writes? It's like,
they shine the Batman light over, City Hall in LA. And that's great. And he leaned right into it. He had no problem with it. But if you miss him, there's a lot more stuff besides Batman 66 that you can, kind of dive into. Like, just so many movies. And are they still releasing Batman versus Two-Face, by the way?
I believe they are. I think I read something somewhere that they said he did finish recording his stuff. So.
Which is a sequel to Batman Return of the Caped Crusaders, which I was just so hyped for because, Wonder Woman got, Wonder Woman 77. I was like, oh, yeah, maybe we can have a crossover. But yeah, we're going to review that, right?
Yeah. We'll get everybody. And I mean, I know we can talk about it a little here, but if we want to do, I don't know how we could do this here. Maybe do your favorite live commentary, but we'll do something.
Yeah. Have you seen any of his old movies? I have.
I may have seen bits and pieces. I don't think I've ever watched like a full movie.
I think kids probably know him best from Family Guy. And I was actually watching a binge watching Family Guy. I love Family Guy. Don't judge me. I think it's season 14. He's very prominent. It just kind of like hit me. I'm like, almost every other episode had like an Adam West voice cameo. And I was just like, wow. First Carrie died, and she was like his boss's voice. And just Family Guy, they get a lot of good people from our childhood.
I know. It just seemed like random at the beginning when I first heard. I'm like, Adam West.
And like last season, he just finally acknowledged him actually playing Batman. They did like a little gag. Like it had been like a long running thing that he never acknowledged that he was that Adam West, and then they finally did it last season. And I was looking forward to like more, meta gags with that.
Mm-hmm. There he is.
There I'm back. Yeah, had to switch to the phone. There we go. Yeah, computer's acting up. Anyway,
we were just talking about our first encounters with Adam West. Like I said, Batman 66 was my first Batman, and Lilith and I were talking about all the other roles he did besides Batman, and
Have you seen any of his movies, Charlie? He was like a really big film noir buff, and I feel like you probably like film noir.
Yeah. Honestly, I really have not seen that many of his older films. I mean, I saw him in The Happy Hooker Goes to Washington.
Such a Charlie movie.
She's a hooker. She's happy. She's in Washington. Things happen. I will be honest. I mostly know him from Batman 66. I mostly know him from his roles that stem from Batman 66.
Family Guy.
Family Guy. He did have. I actually saw it, and it was actually really brilliant. He had it was supposed to be his big comeback. I think it was it aired something like September 10th, 2001, which is why it never went anywhere after that. But he was it was supposed to be it was like a cop show parody, sort of like a Files of Police Squad, but it was set in Hawaii, as I recall. And I did not get all my notes for this before today, but I watched it and it was hilarious. He was, he's always been a guy with phenomenal comic timing, and it's one of these things. I think we often I think comedic actors get this short shrift, and I think that's one of the reasons why I think the passing of Adam West kind of hit us in a way that we didn't expect it to, because it's something when you think about a comic actor like Adam West, you don't think about him in terms of tragedy. You don't think about how his passing would affect you, because comedy's just always there. It's just always something that's joyful and makes you happy to think about it. And what I love about Adam West was that some people get bitter and resentful about things when they don't go their way, and it is arguable. It is strongly arguable that his taking the Batman role did not go his way, that it typecast him, it put him in a spot where he had a very hard time for many years to get beyond that. But he was never bitter about it, at least as far as I know. He was never bitter about it. He was never angry that, I can never work again because I'm a Batman. I think he understood as an actor, hey, I may never work again because I'm an actor. And if nothing else, that I was the Batman gave me this moment where the world kind of looked at me and really appreciated what I could do. And, and honestly, my greatest memory of Adam West is the fact that, my oldest son, Ben, he's a font nerd. He loves fonts. He loves texts and how letters are formed and things like that. And when he watched the 66 Batman and they had the sound effects, the pow, bang, blast, he loved that. And it became his favorite thing. And when he was a little kid in his little baby nerdery, it was such a wonderful thing that I could share that with him, that this was this thing between us. And, I think it's moments like that make Adam West, because he is so identified with it, because he is so much a part of not only our childhood, but the childhoods before us and the childhoods after us, that we just all get bound up in this. And why I think the fact that, the city of Los Angeles put the bat signal on City Hall, when he passed away, because this was so much more important than we realized. And I think that's a beautiful thing.
Well, I think a lot of people too, they identify actors by maybe the first thing they saw them in. Mm-hmm. And I mean, even after that first run, they replayed the heck out of Batman 66. That's what I said. I was watching it in the 80s. They were replaying it every day.
I was watching it in the 90s.
Exactly. So
and my kids are watching it in the teens, I mean, it's still on.
Somewhere.
Yes, it's always on somewhere. And, if not for Batman 66, we would not have Bruce Lee.
Elaborate.
Well, okay. So what made Bruce Lee a star for American audiences, and what made Bruce Lee a star in general, actually, was Kato in The Green Hornet, which was a spinoff of Batman. He got the part because Burt Ward, who I believe is a black belt in Kung Fu,
little bit of trivia there, was taking classes with him and said, "Oh, you need a guy for Kato. I know a guy. He's the best martial artist. He's my martial arts instructor. Let me bring him in." And of course, he comes in and does his kung fu and completely changes what they were planning on doing with it. And because of that, when that went off the air and went into syndication, it wound up in what was it? Is it Taiwan? Or yeah. Anyway, the part that was owned by Britain that could bring in American television shows. And they said, yes, here it's called the Kato Show, and you're like the biggest star in Taiwan. And then he went back to China, did all of his kung fu films there, and really established his legend as one of the greatest martial artists, and would have never happened without Batman 66. At least that's the legend, as I've heard it. Could be completely apocryphal, but I like to think that that there was something that was opened up for the world because of this show in a lot of ways. And I think there is a reason why Batman 66 is still around, because I think Joel Schumacher recently apologized for Batman and Robin. But I think in his own way, what he was trying to do was to recapture what made Batman 66 a hit.
He said as much. And also Gotham takes its lead from the Joel Schumacher films. They said,
Well, yeah, because it is about the craziness of a comic book universe. And which is why I think maybe it is fitting that his last appearance is on Powerless, which, is about the craziness of a comic book universe. And I know you guys hate it. That's fine. You don't have to like it. Nobody liked Batman and Robin either. It's not an easy story to tell. A lot of people don't like Gotham for the same reason, because it is crazy. But superheroes are a crazy thing, As we say, the line between a hero and a lunatic is very thin. And here it fades to nothing, Yes, exactly. Exactly. It is an absurdist world, a world in which there are superheroes. But the whole universe is absurdist. And if you, like Camus, Sorry, I stayed up last night watching philosophy videos on Rick and Morty, which we talked about on Superconnectivity this week. But the idea of superheroes are absurd. Just the idea that in an infinite universe you would have people with crazy powers. But of course, Batman isn't even a guy with crazy powers. He's just a guy who...
Crazy money.
Yeah, crazy money. But you know what? Even without the money, it's his inventiveness and his detective skills. Because really, in the first Batman, he wasn't billionaire Bruce Wayne. He was just a mere millionaire Bruce Wayne.
Well, they adjusted for inflation, but yes.
Yeah, but he was just some old money guy, the son of a doctor, who went and felt he had to do something to fight crime and solve problems and deal with chemical syndicates, as it were. And I think that's one of the reasons why Batman is one of these characters who can survive so many incarnations, who can have 66 Batman and have that be a treasure, and then go into the Dark Knight and even have missteps like Batfleck or Batman and Robin, and still survive as a character. I'm mean to Batfleck, I know.
Well, yeah, I think those are the best characters who can get plugged into different scenarios. Those are the ones who are the most human.
Yeah. And I think that Adam West was able to bring that out. I think Adam West understood how you can be a serious actor and do a camp absurdist piece. He understood that Batman's origin doesn't need to change just because it's a comedy. The very first episode of 66 Batman, he says, ever since my parents were murdered, in that light, airy show, ever since my parents were murdered on that dark night, I've dedicated my life to making Gotham a better, safer place. This is him saying this in his capacity as a philanthropist to like the Ladies Guild of Gotham or something of that nature. And then, of course, he gets the call from Alfred, and he has to go with young Master Dick to go fight crime. But it is played purely seriously, and I think that is that is always the mistake of people who try to recreate camp, is that they don't understand that it is important that you be as serious of an actor in comedy as you would as if this was, Shakespeare. You have to be serious about it, because if you're not serious about it, you miss the point of the joke. The point of the joke is that we take this all deadly seriously, even as it is absurd.
Well, I thought you, when you said it is ironic, his last role was powerless, because some days you just can't get rid of a bomb.
Yes, well, some days you can't. Although NBC got rid of their bomb, sadly. I say that someday Powerless will get the respect it deserves. I mean, this wasn't the year for it. Although, and honestly, the President-elect stuff at Lex-Largo, tweeting in all caps. Oh, it was not subtle. And we'll leave it at that.
But you said you just tried to watch because they put his Adam West's Powerless episode online. You said you couldn't get through, that it was like.
Yeah, well, it might just be my connection, but yeah, it was getting very choppy, which is why I actually unplugged my mic, which is why we're now on my phone, because I was having internet connection. So it might have been on my end, but no, I'm sure lots of people are watching it, because it is his last thing, and he does it well, and it is beautiful and hilarious and absurd. He does these crazy fourth wall breaks, and everyone stares at him when he's doing it, and it is such a brilliant thing, because of course it perfectly encapsulates the crazy old man character that he has mastered in recent years, as well as his throwing back to the idea of the absurdist comedy of Batman. I do think Powerless is in many ways, I kind of feel like Powerless could easily have been set in that 66 Batman universe, that 60 years later, that Batman 66 universe has come into full superheroism. And, and just the idea of, alien insurance, and how, yeah, of course I got alien insurance, but these aliens were from the future. So technically this hasn't happened yet. It is beautiful if you can laugh at it, and if it is well done by actors who take their performance seriously. And maybe its writing could have been sharper, maybe its direction could have been better, and maybe in a different time it would have been more beloved. We're in a different time.
I think that's the one thing that might have saved that show, is if you would have had Adam West on there every week. Oh, sure. But then we'd still be in the same boat.
His voice work, I love him as a voice actor. Chicken Little is like my favorite voice acting that he does outside of Family Guy. I don't know if you guys know that he was in Chicken Little from 2005, but he was.
What was his role in Chicken Little? Because I've seen that movie many times.
It's been 10 years. But let me look it up.
No, I mean, I totally believe that he was in it, but I'm trying to remember, because I know that was Zach Braff's big breakout role.
But yeah, I mean, with Powerless, I think people would have bought the camp more if it was Adam West, if it was coming from Adam West, because everyone would be like, oh yeah, I remember Adam West Batman camp. Yeah.
Yeah, they should have had him be the head of the Wayne Security.
Exactly.
He could have, except they wanted to have honestly, but he would have too much gravitas for the way that role was written. So they'd have to completely change who that role was to put him in there. And he comes in great.
A lot of things with that show. So. Yeah,
well, exactly. But he does fantastic when he comes in as the chairman of Wayne Enterprises, Don West. It was really, really great, and I guess I still have to finish watching it so I can see how it ends. But
he was Ace in Chicken Little, by the way.
He was who?
Ace.
Who was Ace?
Hollywood Chicken Little.
What?
When they made the movie of his life at the end.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yes. Okay, now I remember. Yes, and I was thinking that was probably where they would have put him, which is great. Reminds me, which is of course, and that of course is its own comedy parody, similar to what they did in Pee-wee's Big Adventure, where they do the movie of his life at the end, and it's, and now there's ninjas. Yes, I know
Do
you
you
are.
have a favorite episode of Batman 66?
Oh, yes. My favorite episode, I believe, I don't know if it was the first appearance of Egghead, but it was an Egghead episode. And it was the one where he isn't with the Queen of the Cossacks. So, why I want to think it was the first one. And it's the one where basically he figures out that Bruce Wayne must be Batman because there's like 4 billionaires in Gotham, and each one he could eliminate for one reason or another. And of course he says, and Batman must be a billionaire because being a superhero is a very expensive hobby. So, because obviously it has to be someone who has time enough to be a superhero. It has to be someone who, is physically the right size and shape. And, of the people in Gotham, there was one guy who was left-handed, so he couldn't be Batman. He was the sports star. And there was one guy who had a very heavy accent, so he couldn't be Batman because Batman doesn't have an accent. And then there was Bruce Wayne. He fits the suit, so he must be it. And then, of course, he's going to transfer all of Batman's memories into his own brain, so that will prove that he was right. But, of course, Robin saves him by turning off the machine because supervillains had no security. They really, for characters that are supposed to be like the world's most brilliant villains, they never really think through their security enough. Thank goodness.
Well, every week it was like, let's put them in this death trap, and I'm sure it'll kill them if we leave them unattended.
Yes. Anyway, but yeah, that is my favorite episode. Just for no other reason than Vincent Price plays the Egghead, and the Egghead solves the obvious the question of Batman, and it's always one of these great tragedies that Egghead is the Gus Gorman of the DC Bat universe, of this great character they never bring in, Although Egghead has had some official cameos in the DC Universe comic books, he's never been in the comic books himself. Gus Gorman, as far as I know, has never even had a cameo. So DC wastes its talent.
What about you, Phil?
I'm trying to remember. I don't know if I have a favorite, but there's just like so much iconic stuff I remember. Just like the Frank Gorshin's Riddler's laugh, and I remember staring at the intro every week because it's like, all right, is it going to be a Batgirl episode? Is she going to drive across the screen? The episodes in London, they have their own separate little Batcave in London, and there's just
yes.
Bat Shark repellent, of course.
Yes, the London. That's another one where there was like a really great villain who never made it into the comic books. It was
Lord Marmaduke Fogg. Is that?
I'm sorry. What?
Was it Lord Marmaduke?
Yeah, Lord Marmaduke Fogg. Yes, and I love it because it's such a modern idea when you think about it. Because it's like it's a girls' school for teenage girl assassins, and it's such an interesting thing, and you realize how much this show influenced so much that came after it.
Whoa, that's where Tim Seeley got that idea.
Probably. I think the episode you're talking about, actually, season 3 is my favorite season of Batman 66. I have 3 favorite episodes from that season. The Wail of the Siren, because Joan Collins. I mean, come on. Joan Collins. 57. The Catwoman's Just to Kill, because I love Eartha Kitt. Always have, always will. And also the jokes on Catwoman. I thought that one was a really good episode, too.
I'm sorry, what was the other one?
The jokes on Catwoman.
Oh. Was that another Eartha Kitt? Yeah.
Eartha Kitt's like my second favorite Catwoman.
Right, here's the thing I never got, like, as a kid. I don't know if I even know now, which is like the Catwomen. Did they ever are they supposed to be separate Catwomen, or are they supposed to be the same person?
I actually didn't know there were other Catwomens until I got older. But
sorry.
All Catwomen look alike to me, I'll be honest with you. Eartha Kitt was always my favorite Catwoman just because I felt she I felt she had the movements down better as a physical actor. I thought she really embodied what being a Catwoman would be, and that Eartha Kitt Catwoman, I think, went on to influence many Catwomen and other characters to this day. I mean, Fish Mooney, which I know everyone, again, I love the people everyone hates. Fish Mooney is absolutely channeling Eartha Kitt throughout her entire performance as Jada Pinkett Smith as Fish Mooney. You can see that Eartha Kitt's influence there, but like so many great TV shows of the past, you get this real cavalcade of talent that comes through it. John Astin was a Riddler, of course. Cesar Romero, best Joker ever. Fred Gorshin, who really defined. I don't think you'd have an Edward Nygma today without Frank Gorshin's Riddler. Mm-hmm. I think that was really because I think Frank Gorshin is the first time the Riddler starts wearing the suit and is being a much more of a master criminal rather than just a knockoff Joker.
Don't forget they also had the Puzzler, which was a knockoff.
Yes, well, yeah. Well, you can only, Frank Gorshin couldn't work that week, and they didn't want to, switch back to John Astin, I guess.
We got well, I mean, yeah, all the great actors you mentioned, Vincent Price, Egghead. I mean, we got Burgess Meredith, the Penguin.
Oh, yes. And again, where these characters go on to influence everyone who plays it afterwards, mm-hmm. Where, I mean, wah, wah. I mean, I don't know if that was even a trope of the Penguin before Burgess Meredith did it. And now every time the Penguin's there, he's always making that noise, although I guess the current Cobblepot hasn't said wah yet, but
wait for it, season 4, it's coming.
Yeah, once he takes up smoking, because this Penguin doesn't smoke, and for the truth, the reason why he kept on doing the wah wah, because the smoke from the cigarette holder was always irritating his throat, and so instead of coughing in every scene, he just started going wah wah wah, and that was why he did that. Yeah, and Louis the Lilac, Roddy McDowell as the Bookworm. Yeah. Oh man,
King Tut.
King Tut. Yes. I'm trying to remember that actor's name, but it's blanking on me. But yeah, Sebastian Cabot. Yes. Just great people, great actors, and just a fun show. And it is so rare that as a performer, you get to be part of something iconic. I mean, sometimes you do. Sometimes you luck into it. Sometimes, you get to be there at just that moment and you get to be part of something. And then that thing continues on long after, and I think that's sort of the joy of TV series work, is that because it is meant to be seen and seen again, it can carry on for years, in a way that, as much as people like Star Wars, I'm sure most people don't watch Star Wars every year. But, I think that if it's on, you watch Batman, because it's always on, and it's always something you can get into and just enjoy for what it is. But that's my opinion.
But I heard a rumor, Lilith, maybe something about this. Did they have like a script for like a Two-Face episode that they never used? I thought I heard that somewhere.
I don't know. Probably though. I mean, that show was, I don't know, like the way that it ended and it was just a mess from top to bottom. So it probably did. They probably do somewhere.
Yeah. Well, what I'll say is that I for what it's worth, they never really did a lot of origins for any of the villains on Batman. They just showed up fully formed, and
that is one good thing. I prefer that.
Yeah. Well, there's a Batman. Batman, and Batman's origin is just like I said, that one line at the beginning of the series. Where he says, "My parents were murdered. Now I try to make Gotham a better place." And we don't have to have, the poorly made pearls that Mr. Wayne, Thomas Wayne bought his wife because he's a cheapskate and he buys cheap pearls for her because they all fall off this comic book girl 19 that, that an actual pearl strand, if it breaks, the pearls stay on the strand because you actually knot each one, because otherwise, the beads just fall off and you lose all your pearls. And that's a very cheap way, basically Thomas Wayne was a cheapskate who really didn't buy good jewelry for his wife. Yeah, well, you don't get to be a billionaire by buying expensive jewelry, Martha. You become a billionaire by selling orphans, as I've told you 1,000 times.
Is that taking in orphans? He feels guilty. That's what's up.
Yeah. Well, you know what it was? He was going to sell Dick, but then he could do a music trick. And, much like Montgomery Burns, who, because the little Rory Calhoun could stand on his hind legs, decided not to turn him into a tuxedo and instead adopted his greyhounds. And, yeah.
Batman 66 did it first.
Yes. Oh, yes, but anyway. But there you go.
But yeah, I mean, like you were saying, I mean, it was a campy series. I mean, how campy and humorous could you be if every episode he's waking up screaming after having a nightmare of his parents' murders?
Well, exactly. But more to the point, I think that having that define him so much in many ways takes away from Batman. Mm-hmm. I think his parents' murder is perhaps maybe better treated as a wake-up call about the dangers of the city of Gotham rather than a reason for existence. His reason for existence is to make Gotham a better place. But the catalyst for him realizing that Gotham needs to be made a better place was his parents' murder.
Well, yeah, it just seems weird. It's like, how does this character evolve and grow if he's just like he's stuck in that, one moment of childhood?
Well, but that's why Adam West was better as a Batman, because he wasn't angsty about it. It was like, yes, my parents died, but I'm a grown man now, and many grown men don't have their parents, and I can do what I can to make the world a better place. And I am just a athlete and a super genius because I've worked hard to do that. But I would have been an athlete and a super genius regardless. That's the theory. Regret for
Batman 66, though, is that Batgirl didn't actually get the spinoff. There's an unaired pilot floating around somewhere, and it is my life's mission now to get it.
Oh, well, that would be good.
That interpretation of I think that's one of my favorite things about Batman 66 was the interpretation of Batgirl. Even though they did it to combat homophobic fears, it still turned into something good.
Well, I mean, that's also that's where we first get Barbara Gordon as Batgirl. That is, because it was an earlier Batgirl, and I forget who she was, but it wasn't Barbara Gordon. And man, I don't know her interior. I don't know what she's paying for rent on that apartment with a secret room, but that's pretty awesome. Commissioners in Gotham apparently make a lot of money. That's all I gotta say. That
kickbacks.
Can't afford her.
He wasn't.
Yes, but Gotham's a very wealthy city. They print their own money. Literally, there's in the crossover with Green Hornet, you find out that yes, Gotham actually does have its own currency.
And they picked that up in Gotham kind of with that one warehouse, that secret warehouse where you could buy the bazookas. Remember? They picked up on that thread. I like that.
Yes. Yeah. It's it was an icon. It was a part of everyone's life, and I think that's the takeaway from our Adam West tribute is, there will never be another Adam West, but we can continue. We continue to love Adam West for who he was and what he did and what he gave us, and hope that our kids will someday have an icon that was so influential on their lives that they didn't realize how important they were until they were gone. That's my hope anyway.
2017, just don't take Linda Carter next, please. 2016 was rough, and 2017 is shaping up to be rough.
Well, not for nothing. People do die. But I'll say this about Linda Carter. She's
in phenomenal shape.
Yeah, not for nothing against Adam West, but when you see him, you do see that. Oh, okay, this was his last role in Powerless. He looks every one of his well-lived years. That's not a slight on him. It's just to say the man clearly had lived his life well, and and he worked until the end. Like Jerry Orbach died in the makeup chair. Every actor's dream.
Plus, he was older than Linda Carter, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, because he was Linda Carter's age in 1977 in 1966, so he's at least 11 years older, and probably even older than that because I think Linda Carter was fairly young when she did Wonder Woman. Yeah, so yes.
They say he didn't do much work after Batman. That's just clearly untrue, though. He like after Batman, lots of TV shows. But before Batman, he did a guest spot on Bewitched as Kermit, and I always remember that for some reason. I don't know why. I love Bewitched. I love that episode.
Yeah. Well, no, the man did work. I mean, the man was a working actor, and like I said, he never had as big of a role as Batman was. And Batman would always be his iconic role, It's like William Shatner. William Shatner kept working after Star Trek. I mean, and they're
T.J. Hooker.
Yeah. Oh well. Yeah. See, you compare him to William Shatner, and yes, Shatner had the bigger hits afterwards. He actually got regular series work. I do wonder maybe if Adam West wasn't really looking for that. Maybe he had his bones as he needed them, and was more cautious about his things. Whereas I think, for William Shatner. I think the William Shatner maybe is not as good with his money, and so needed to get a lot more work.
That's always come on the show, William Shatner. Is that what you're trying to do? You're trying to goad him into coming on?
I don't know. Do you think also that's like maybe Adam West got typecast more? Because I mean, Shatner, he was Captain Kirk, but that was more of an action role. So they're like, oh, we can throw Shatner like, TJ Hooker or whatever. We can give him like action roles. But Adam West was like typecast as a superhero, like specifically Batman.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, like I said, but so many actors get one hit. I mean, that's the truth of it. Is most actors that get like two shows that are big are very rare, Honestly, right now, what's her name? Played Elaine.
Julia
Louis-Dreyfus. Like she's on her third major series now. That's very rare,
Would have been Christine with Coulson.
Yes, with Coulson. And now Coulson's on his second series. Just goes to show you, talent rises, it is. It is. I really want an episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. where he meets President Julia Louis-Dreyfus, I don't know if it actually works in any concept, but I just think that would be funny for one scene. Or have an episode of Veep where Coulson comes into that as an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. I don't know. It probably doesn't work.
It's a really good comedy, so they might not be able to say Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but they could allude to it.
Yes, I'm with a special agency. And now we can go dimension hopping in the Marvel Universe, so it all makes sense. Anyway, okay.
So is that our Adam West? Should we move on to maybe happier things?
Yes.
Oh, sure. I didn't know we were going to talk about more stuff. Okay, yes. What else is there to talk about?
Sure. Well, I know. The thing I wanted to bring up is, did everyone see? Supposedly, James Gunn was teasing maybe Quasar in Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
I saw that.
Yeah. Oh, but I didn't see how he teased it. What did he tease?
He put up an old picture of like an old VCR, and he was like said something about, oh, I love like the wood paneling from my childhood, but the brand name was Quasar.
Ah, okay, I get it. Yeah.
Gone, do it right.
Yeah, or maybe he just was actually saying he liked the wood paneling, because you know who else is making a comeback right now? Atari.
True.
They're coming out with a new game, and I believe if the teaser trailer they put out for the game console is to be believed, it will have wood paneling.
Yeah, but I mean, just coincidentally, a big director on like a big Marvel franchise puts up a picture of something that has the name of a Marvel character on it.
What? There's no coincidences in social media, especially corporate social media. No way.
Oh, but there's also a lot of trolling. There's also a lot of that. It's like they do that a lot. They do that a lot.
Yeah, but do you think Disney and like Marvel Studios would let him do that? Be like, don't say that. We're not putting him in.
No, it's not like he said Martha. Because knowing that actually, I believe Quasar was an electronics manufacturer in the 80s. I think here's what I'll say. It actually theoretically could have even been coincidence, or he was just doing something it can be a throwback to 80s culture. It can be a throwback to, and it could just be actively trolling you, like the Simon Williams posters. It was real. They did have them in the film allegedly, or they were supposed to be in the film in certain spots and certain background scenes, but it never was actually meant to be anything beyond that. Although now I want to see Simon Williams in this Tony Stark biopic.
Yes. But I think Gunn said that.
I can't hold it anymore. I need to talk about this.
Okay. She either has to pee or she has news. Okay, go ahead.
Marvel proper has picked up Michael B. Jordan. They've been saving the Human Torch from terrible Fox Studios for 2 times now. I'm so happy. Oh my God. I love Michael B. Jordan so much. I'm so happy.
Yes.
In the Black Panther film.
Yes. No, it's great. And yes, it is Marvel or Disney. Disney likes their Human Torches, the guys who they cast that role well. And routinely people always say, well, the Human Torch was pretty good in it, and it's like the one salvation of these Fantastic Four films. Everyone says, but I really did like the guy who played the Human Torch. So, Marvel says, okay. But actually,
Fox puts out any more crappy Fantastic Four movies, you're going to see people clamoring to be the Human Torch.
Probably.
Well, but it was because actually, Chris Evans was discussing this recently, and he was saying it was a real heavy decision for him to take Captain America because he was like, I don't know, man. I took the Human Torch, and that did not work out as well as I had hoped it would. He's
like more than one superhero too. He's comic book based character. Let's put it that way. So.
But this was a major role in a major comic book. Being one of the 7 evil X's doesn't really count.
The Losers? A couple of other things.
Yeah. This was something that people knew it was a comic book beforehand.
Oh yeah, trust me. You take Captain America, people are gonna be looking for you to mess up.
Yeah, but he did it well. He did it fantastically and brought depth and intelligence to the role. And that's good. And for what it's worth, I think really reinvigorated the character of Cap to the extent that now when you try to do an interesting story with Cap, people get all up in arms.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
the casting.
Like, weren't we canceling Cap like a couple years ago and no one even blinked?
Oh yeah, they said Iron Man's numbers were so low before that movie.
Yeah, but that's why Marvel succeeded, because they weren't banking on the hero to be the box office. They were banking on the character to be the box office, the story to be the box office, the actor to be the box office, and that has been DC's problem up until Wonder Woman, where they've been banking on the character and not the character, or the character as a comic book character, not the story and the depth.
They just expect they expect the franchise to carry it.
Yeah, exactly. And here's what I'm saying: Schumacher can do that with Batman and Robin, because Batman and Robin, I believe, made its money back. It was its own hit. And for what it's worth, Superman v Batman made its money back. It was I think I have no idea how much they spent, but it made a lot of money. It made decent money. It made $100 million.
It's Batman. It's Batman.
Yeah. Well, Wonder Woman made a lot more. Wonder Woman is a bona fide hit.
And going.
Yeah. No, that's going to be DC's first $1 billion film.
Yeah. It's Batman v Superman, because like Batman says at the beginning of Lego Batman, DC, the house Batman built, come at me, Superman.
Yeah, well, now I think Wonder Woman's adding a new story.
Yeah.
And for what it's worth,
I'm cool because of Wonder Woman. Yeah.
You know, the only reason why Batman's popular is because of 66 Batman, you know.
Bring it all back around.
Bring it all back around, man, because that is how we fell in love with Batman, you know. And you know, and it's great that when Batman got all dark and gritty, we were old enough to appreciate it. But if it was just, you know, if it was dark, gritty Green Arrow, I don't think it would have been that big of a deal, you know, because no one knew who the Green Arrow was or cared who the Green Arrow was until recently. Now, kids growing up today are.
Why did you say that name? Why did you say that name?
Phil, we're going to have an intervention with your pops here.
Oh, I'm
he
sorry.
just likes to taunt me with his man cave.
Yeah. Shameless plug.
I'm sorry. I couldn't hear you, Lilith. I think those stuffed animals. There's a big avalanche covered you.
Oh well, Panda Bear has his Batman mask today in honor.
Panda Bear.
There we go.
So. I am a girl.
Okay.
We're adults, but no. We were talking about all that you said. You're glad Marvel picked up Michael B. Jordan. I was so happy. I saw in Black Panther, and then she's going to be in Infinity War also as what's her name? Denai Ganari, who's plays Michonne on The Walking Dead.
Oh yeah,
she's going to be in Black Panther, and they confirmed her for Infinity War too.
Oh, he's bringing his.
Awesome.
Bringing his. She's one of the Majora, or she's not Shuri. No,
is that what she's playing?
Is she playing Shuri?
I don't know. But yeah, I think
I just saw them break it down yesterday, and I can't remember who's playing who anymore.
I think that's where you're getting all those 60-some characters, is because I think everyone who has their own solo movie is bringing at least one or two characters from their own movie in the Infinity War.
Yeah, I guess Chris Evans is bringing Sebastian Stan. Well, I gotta, you know.
Well, hey, you know they're probably going to wake him up in Black Panther. Have to be there to take over.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe he shows up as Captain America since Steve Rogers isn't Captain America.
Chris Evans, quit trying to fire Chris Evans, you know?
No, he could still be in the movie, but he could be Nomad or something.
He wants to eat
at the end of Civil War.
No,
at the end of Civil War, he wasn't wearing a suit.
Yeah, but they're not going to put one of Cap's rebels into the suit. You're much more likely to get John Walker as Captain America than anyone else, you know. If we get someone else in the Captain America costume, you know, which I think would be a great thing to put on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you know, for next season, except we're in space next season.
John Walker, you say?
John Walker, U.S. agent, man. Yes.
I love that. That's my favorite Cap suit, that black one.
Oh yeah. When he was just the captain.
Yeah, maybe it's just because I love that storyline so much.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Any other random news, Philip?
Pop for every occasion. All right. Does anyone else have any other news? I don't know. I thought you were timing it. Us.
Yeah, until my computer went down and I switched to the phone. I can't time and be on the phone at the same time.
We're at 62 minutes.
Oh, there we go. Thank you. Someone's in charge.
The brains of our operation.
Brains and the beauty and the bronze. Yeah, just like Wonder Woman. Just, you know.
Oh, I know what other story I was thinking about. Charlie, did you see this? I put up the link this week about San Diego Comic-Con going against what Comic-Con was that?
Salt Lake City.
Salt Lake City
Comic-Con, yeah. I didn't know the word Comic-Con had been trademarked, to be honest with you.
Have they? I mean, they've been trying this forever. I'm so disappointed in International Comic-Con.
What am I saying?
Comic-Con, it used to not be this big. They didn't start getting greedy till like around 2007, 11, like 8 or something like that. Like, I just can't believe this is.
They want to be the NFL. They want to trademark that, you know, like Super Bowl. You know, no one's allowed to use Super Bowl.
The problem is that people have been using the term Comic-Con since I was a kid and I went to the Motor City Comic-Con.
Mm-hmm.
You know. If you don't defend your trademark, you don't have a trademark. That is the law on trademarks. It's like if you don't use, that's why it's very hard. That's why you will occasionally have Marvel just create a character to hold on to a trademark. Just because well, we have a Hulk. Let's put out a She-Hulk and put out a Spider-Woman too. I don't care what the story is. Just put something in there. And those sometimes work out great because then the writer has no mandate and he just gets to create a character and it'll be fun.
Deadpool. Sorry, Wade's world famous plug.
Yeah, so there you go. Deadpool's quite popular.
Now.
My son loves Deadpool, yeah. No, Deadpool's been popular for a while. Deadpool has been actually, honestly, Deadpool was already one of the most famous characters at Marvel by the time his movie came out. Character, at least in comic book circles, he was beloved. That's why they put him in everything.
Yes.
Him and Wolverine, they were in many ways the Spider-Man of the current Marvel universe,
Oh, I remember.
No.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Because
they don't have to sleep, they can do more books.
Anytime they try to save a book, they threw Deadpool in their Secret Defenders, Heroes for Hire. Yeah. But do you think the whole Comic-Con debate is it just all about money, or do you think maybe? But no, what
artistic integrity.
Yeah, but do you think they're trying to protect their brand too? Because if one of these smaller cons does put on like a crappy show, then are they worried about
that's everything else. Everybody knows.
We don't want to be associated with this, small town, one trick pony who puts on a crappy show and angers their customers.
Yeah, well,
I don't think that's what it is at all.
Yeah, I'm sure it's probably money.
No, well, even that is about money. Even that is about, we have a brand and we want to maintain our brand, and that's about money, Mm-hmm. It's the same reason why I can't sell Coca-Cola, even if I spell it with a K. It's like, no, you can't do that. That's infringing on our brand,
You should use such a generic term. You should have had some forethought.
Yeah. Well, and what it is, they can trademark the San Diego Comic-Con. So if someone else comes to San Diego and puts on a Comic-Con,
called International Comic-Con, just so we all know.
Okay. What's called International Comic-Con?
Yeah, that's actually the technical legal entity name for it.
The big one.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then great. Then I can go to San Diego and start my own Comic-Con in San Diego.
We'll see how you can try.
Call it Comic-Con local.
Nice. By the way, speaking of Deadpool, there's my pick of the week this week.
Oh, Gwenpool.
This was without a doubt an amazing book. This is number 17. And after we thought the series was over, she came back, and not only does she break the fourth wall, as you can see right there on the cover, she shatters the fourth wall. And literally, when you get inside, and she hurts her own brain by commenting with each other, spoilers, through the wall after she has broken her own wall. And it's beautiful. It is a beautiful, beautiful thing. Yeah. And then she steps out of the book.
And if you're a fan of the Netflix shows, Defenders #1 came out this week. Yeah. Along with a bunch of Spider-Man books.
Oh, Spider-Man. They're still making Spider-Man books? Okay.
Why did you say that name?
Oh, God, he is the Batman of that universe. They have so many damn Bat books. It's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and now Batman's evil.
No, just the 50 million alternate versions of them.
Yes, it's Hydra Cap meets the Spider-Verse, but in DC. And
Star Trek's Dark Mirror universe.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
So,
of course, if anyone would like to comment on, if you'd like to write to me in an old-fashioned email way, if you have anything to say to me, say I'm wrong, say I'm right, Write to me at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, at gmail.com. And of course, follow me on Twitters. I'll find something to live tweet eventually at Charlie Esser. That's CharlieEsser. Look for the 2 E's in the middle for quality.
You can live tweet The Bachelor. That's fun.
I'm sorry, what?
The Bachelorette. You can live tweet that.
Oh, I tweet The Bachelorette. Okay. I don't like reality television. I don't like reality. That's why I read comic books.
Same. Agreed. If you want to follow me on Twitter, at Lilith Hellfire, or at Adventures in FG on all social media, Pinterest, Facebook, Twitter, literally anything, at Adventures in FG. Also check out my website, adventuresinfangirling.com. I'm going to see All Eyes on Me soon, so I'll probably do a review on Facebook Live about it. I'm really excited about that.
I've heard bad things.
Have you?
I have. Actually, I was reading that. There's like, Snoop Dogg says it's okay, but, I don't know how much he had smoked before he saw it. Because I do find that always helps. Not that I smoke, but I've always found that I do like media better. But no, I know that Jada Pinkett Smith is kind of upset because she feels that they kind of misrepresented her relationship with Tupac. And
trying to stay relevant. We'll see. She's always.
And I have heard other reviewers go, we've been waiting a long time for this. It's sort of like, what's that? The Book of Henry.
It's got to be better than that Biggie movie. I hate it, Notorious. No offense.
Yeah.
Involved. It's got to be better than that. It's got to be better than those movies, right? It's got to be.
Yeah. I mean, you'd like to think that,
Well, you like straight out of Compton, so not everything's not for everybody.
Yes, I mean, I'm not a big biopic guy myself, to be honest with you. In fact, I think the last biopic I saw was the one about 1966 Batman. That was a TV movie. No, actually, I also saw the who's the guy who played Hogan on Hogan's Heroes? Who's played by the guy from Talk Soup?
Oh, Joel McHale?
Autofocus. Yeah. No, the original guy from Talk Soup. Autofocus. About the star of Hogan's Heroes and his love of porn and how it eventually was his undoing. Now that's a biopic I can get behind.
Last good biopic I saw was Ray starring Jamie Foxx. I'll put it to you that way.
That was a good one. Although, actually, I guess I don't know. Does the Dewey Cox story count as a biopic?
You can make it. I love John C. Reilly.
Yes, he was fantastic in King Kong.
I haven't seen that yet. I was waiting for DVD.
Yeah, he's very good in it. And you very quickly realize Samuel L. Jackson is the villain of that piece, and he is just totally super villained out, just absolutely not thinking through his plan at all. And but it's a good film. It's a very good film. I highly recommend Kong of Skull Island.
Because the last 5 years, it's been get away.
Yes. Although I will say the skull crawlers are not. I don't like their design. It's a very weirdly designed animal, and it's like I think I would have preferred just more generic dinosaur kind of characters. But that's me.
Not you. Sorry to cut you off later.
What?
Go ahead, sir.
All right. Well, if you want to get a hold of me, it's nightwingpdp@gmail.com. On Twitter, I am at nightwingpdp. And Luke and I are going to see Cars 3 tomorrow, so maybe we'll do a Facebook Live review. Yeah, I know.
Now,
but
I have heard bad reviews about.
I know. Yeah. Hopefully Despicable Me 3 will be better, but
Are you ready for your nap, sir? You can just doze off and watch it.
No, Luke and I will probably do a review of Cars 3. Where do you ask? Probably Facebook Live, because Capes and Lunatics is on Facebook, facebook.com/Capes and Lunatics, Twitter @CapesLunatics, Instagram, Pinterest, and send us your thoughts on anything in pop culture and social media, capesandlunatics@gmail.com, and our voicemail, 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES.
No voicemail this week?
Wait, yeah, we do. I'm sorry, yeah, we do. Jesse sent us another. I'm sorry, I almost forgot. Yes, it's because it's Adam West also. So I'm sorry.
It's our after the credits spoiler, or it's our after the credits scene with Jesse.
That's right. Makes it important, Jesse. I'm sorry. But yeah, Jesse can take us out on Adam West. If I get this stupid thing to work, okay.
Hi, this is Jesse Jackson from.
I didn't bring my speaker out. All right, here. You two talk. I'll be right back.
Okay. So, yeah. So, what do you think about the Black Panther poster controversy? Did you hear about this?
What was the controversy? I missed it. Which one? Which one?
The one with him. The one with Black Panther on the throne.
Oh, what was the controversy?
Apparently somebody tweeted that it looks very similar to a somewhat famous photo of one of the founders of the Black Panther Party.
Is that what all that screeching on Twitter was about? Yeah. And here's
because I talk about this on and it's funny because apparently, okay, so I'm the only one who heard about this controversy. Well, what it is people are very upset about Black Panther, as you know, because as it turns out, it does not star a white guy. They thought it was going to be like the White Shadow, and it was going to, it's called Black Panther, but he's actually a white guy. No. As it turns out, he actually is an African superhero. Yes.
Sorry, I'm back.
And it is about how Wakanda conquers the world. You watch.
Yes.
Hail Wakanda. Wakanda is going to take over the world. That's their plan. They're going to make him. I get the feeling. I think at the end of this, you're going to realize that Black Panther is like the Namor of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, where he is a hero, but he's not your hero. He's protecting. He's protecting his people. He's protecting Wakanda, and if that means I have to go and conquer some places, Wakanda has to remind you that maybe you should have left us behind the waterfall. Don't come into our territory because now we're going to come into yours. And I think that's what they're building Black Panther into. And that's what my hope we're going to see.
Disney and Marvel would go that route, though.
Oh, well, I mean.
Because, they know their brand, they know their base. That's why Marvel has been successful. And it's a part of their base that want to see that, but isn't a big enough part of that base to really actually go that route.
They don't have to go full on. They don't have to go full on Hydra Black Panther with him. They don't have to have him be a fascist trying to take over the world, but they can have him be a guy who, with Everett Ross, remind Everett Ross, I don't work for you.
Movie definitely, but we'll see. I'm excited for the movie, but there's always going to be backlash. There's always going to be people that have something to say. So
it is Disney Marvel. So I think that they might play him like that in the beginning. Then they might, by the end, they'll be like, "Oh, you Avengers are nice guys. I'll team up with you."
Well, no, the Avengers, sure. And for Infinity War, Thanos threatens Wakanda as much as Thanos threatens the United States. And that's the thing. And that that for what it's worth, that's what made I always remember Black Panther starts as a villain because his first introduction with the Fantastic Four is him beating the heck out of the Fantastic Four, much in the same way he beats the heck out of Cap and Bucky in Civil War. Then he comes around because he realizes what the right thing to do is, and I think you're going to have this constant play back and forth, just like you do with Namor, where it's I am your friend and I will fight for a righteous cause, but never think that my loyalties aren't with my people. And I think that's the obviously right way to play that character. I think if you have him go and do something to the detriment of Wakanda for the betterment of someone else, it's foolish, So I don't know if they're going to have him be an aggressive conqueror of other countries, but I know that there will probably be some discussions about can you fight a defensive war, but and that of course is what people are afraid of is, the idea of what if an African nation wasn't. What if an African nation was actually the one that was technologically advanced and militarily capable of dominating the world? And for what it's worth, what we are going to see in this is that the only reason Wakanda hasn't conquered the world is because they probably didn't want all the paperwork involved. Conquer the world, that's a lot of paperwork. That's a lot of people you got to take care of. Most supervillains never even think about it. They want to take over the world, and then they forget that, okay, now I must find a good sanitation plan for the city because, we need one. We got to figure out how we're going to allow parking spaces in front of the new murder dome, There's a lot of bureaucracy that goes into running a planet, and, no supervillain wants that.
Not if you get rid of everybody. Just saying.
Yeah, well, I mean, sure, but then what's the point of conquering the world,
Tell the world to yourself. I hate people.
Yeah. You like us, Lilith?
I do. I wouldn't ship you to the moon to die, I promise. I'll give you your own little island.
Yay. Oh, I call Australia.
Good choice.
Because I got the Lex Luthor mind.
I was going to say, Lex Luthor. I was going to say Charlie Esser, President of Australia. Yes. Activate the machine.
Yeah.
Oh, ready for that voicemail. Let's see what Jesse has.
That's right. We started with Adam West. We will end with Adam West. Our good friend Jesse sent us a voicemail. Here we go.
Hi, this is Jesse Jackson from Next Stop Everywhere in Set Listing Bruce. And I just wanted to talk about the passing of Adam West. I was born in 1959, so I was watching TV when the series first came on the air. And I remember loving it. I remember wanting to be Robin. And then when it became syndicated, I watched it over and over again. And I always had a lot of affection for Adam West, Burt Ward, and Yvonne Craig. I was lucky enough to spend some time at a convention with Yvonne Craig and talking to her at her table, and it was a joy. And then a few years ago, I was able to meet Adam West, talk to him just for a little bit, and he was charming and smooth and a great guy. I remember him playing a small part in a Burt film, Hooper, where he was playing the star of the spy film. Obviously, he's done a lot of great work besides Batman, but he is, in a lot of ways, my Batman. And I know a lot of people are saying that now, but the reality is it's true. And we have lost an icon of my youth. So I say safe travels. Adam West, you are loved. You will be missed. Once again, this is Jesse Jackson from Set Listing Bruce. Next up everywhere. Looking forward to hear y'all's discussion of Adam and his career.
Well said.
And on that, Phil, who are we?
The Capes.
And
The Lunatics.
join us next week. Same bat time, same bat channel.